right, guys, welcome back to another video. We have lots to talk about today. Lots of interesting stories happening throughout the gaming industry. But before we jump into it all, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy what you see throughout this video, and make sure to check out my Spotify. The link is in the description. We'll start off here. We'll talk a little bit about the PlayStation 5 Pro, which we are still waiting on that official announcement here from Sony about the console, the release date, the price, and to get from their mouth what is actually under the hood here in terms of specifications. And also, I'm very interested in how this console is actually going to look. Are they going to make it huge like they did with the OG PS5, or is there going to be somewhat of a nice sleeker design? I wasn't a big fan of the PS5 design, so we'll see what they go with here with a PlayStation 5 Pro when we do officially get that announcement. But when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro, there's some more information here from a developer, a veteran developer, who has worked on titles like the Elder Scrolls series, and they commented on the PlayStation 5 Pro, talking about how they believe that PlayStation is going to be providing developers easy and economical ways to implement enhancements, which isn't really surprising. My whole take on this Pro console and even going into the next generation is that this software under the hood is going to be far more important than the actual hardware, because consoles still need to be at a price that is affordable. It is under the price of higher end PCs, and people walk into stores, they will consider that over building a PC or even buying a pre-built PC. So they have to put in some magic sauce there, the tools, in order to get games to run great and look good. And this is maybe what we will see here with the PS5 Pro. People are looking at whether this is going to be a console that runs games at 4K 60. From what we saw in an earlier video from another bit of information that had come out, that 4K 60 FPS, those things are actually within the requirements to get the PlayStation 5 Pro label on it. And one of the ways they're going to be able to do that is with the implementation of the PSSR. But this is from the latest episode of Moore's Law is Dead's Broken Silicon podcast. And I have to say, I thought it was hilarious when he first reported RDNA 3 way back with the launch of the PS5, thinking that that was something that was going to be within the PS5. So was skeptical about his rumor about PS5 Pro, but it seems like he is spot on here, as everybody has been reporting the same thing about the PS5 Pro coming and the specs that have been leaked. Now, he was talking with a veteran developer who worked among, again, other titles, the Elder Scrolls Online, commented on the PlayStation 5 Pro, saying that it couldn't be that much more powerful than the base model, as developers need time to plan for future hardware. Basically saying your games are already in development, are budgeted already, so developers would have a very hard time upscaling or scaling those projects for much higher specs. This could also mean that Sony is most definitely talking with developers about the PlayStation 6, as some of the launch games for the next generation system are likely already in the works, because the next gen system is probably just a couple of years away here, 2026, 2027, maybe 2028, but I'm guessing probably 2027 is that sweet spot where we will see the jump to the next generation. So games that are going to be coming out here for the PS5 Pro, they aren't going to be this huge upgrade. There's not going to be a massive jump from the regular PlayStation 5, but the developer, it also talks about how Sony is developer friendly nowadays, obviously compared to the PS3 days. And the PS5 Pro, they say, has been designed to provide developers with easy and economical ways to implement enhancements. The PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution Upscaler was similarly designed as well, since being tailored to specific hardware and with total control over how much the API changes from the Japanese company will make its implementation much easier than AMD FSR. So if this is an in-house solution that they have created where developers can go in and really just scale it with the tech that's given to them, with the SDK that is given to them, maybe we do start seeing some nice results here from the PSSR, and that is going to be the thing that gets games running at better frame rates without sacrificing as much resolution and taking off some of the load from the actual hardware within the PS5 Pro. So we will see if that is actually true. We're still just waiting on the announcement for this thing. It will be interesting to see how it shifts the market. If Xbox will respond at all, I don't think they will in terms of a Pro console. I think they're just going to wait until the next generation, which my opinion would be smart. If you're Xbox, the smart move now going forward, I think, is getting a very powerful at-home console with the next gen, and then having a handheld that go along with that, something that maybe you can even dock into your TV. So it'll be a very interesting time when it comes to the hardware side of things as we move forward to the end of this generation. Now, when it comes to where will we see the announcement of a PlayStation 5 Pro? Well, we may be getting a PlayStation showcase to be held next month. So this again is a rumor, but it says here, it's not typical for these major showcases to land so close to each other, but claims made recently by Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb may be an indicator that Sony is bucking that trend. During a recent stream, Grubb said, "I've heard that there will be a PlayStation 5 something, either a state of play or a showcase next month in May." So this is probably going to be there. I'm, fingers crossed, really hoping that this is a bigger showcase. It isn't just one of those state of plays where they show off a bunch of third-party stuff. We don't see anything about the future of the actual PlayStation business and the PlayStation hardware or PlayStation first-party games. That would be disappointing. I hope it's actually solely about what is happening within the PlayStation business from their first-party perspective. And it would kind of make sense. So you got Hiroki Totoki coming in here, taking over from Jim Ryan. Maybe he wants to kick things off here with a showcase and just get PlayStation going in the direction that he is now the leader of. Or maybe they have the announcement of who's going to be the next head of PlayStation. They do some sort of introduction. Who knows? But I would like to see something here from PlayStation in the next few months in terms of a showcase. And definitely in the summer, I hope if they don't have something in the next month or so, in June, July, have a massive showcase going over everything that is coming beyond 2024, because we pretty much know there are no major first-party games coming from them. And I feel like that's where they will announce the PS5 Pro and then announce that you're going to be able to pre-order it and it will launch in the last quarter of 2024. So keep your eyes open for that and see if that does come true. Now, when it comes to Xbox, Hollow Knight SilkSong, a major game coming into Xbox Game Pass day one. It is finally being talked about, finally teased here. Sarah Bond teased it, saying who's looking forward to day one Xbox Game Pass, showing that Hollow Knight SilkSong was now having a game page on the Xbox store, meaning that it's probably getting closer to release and that we are going to hear something about it soon. And it seems like it's truly happening, as the game has been classified in South Korea, suggesting news about the game's release date could be on the way. It says, as spotted by a Reset Era user, Team Cherry's much anticipated Metroidvania sequel was actually rated back in February when the game was classified as suitable for players aged 12 and over. And the rating was discovered after Microsoft launched a Hollow Knight SilkSong store page on Xbox this week, enabling players to wish list the game. So we will see. Of course, Xbox is having a showcase this summer. I feel like we will get the official release date for this game at that showcase. It was obviously originally planned to release in the first half of 2023, and then it got pushed back, and now we're going into the second half of 2024 before we will potentially even see Hollow Knight SilkSong land and release on Xbox Game Pass Day one. But I mean, that's fine. As long as the game's polished and this delay has made it even better, I think that will end up being a good thing. Now, when it comes to a game that people thought potentially was completely just dead, was the Knights of the Old Republic remake. But we got an update here. And as we know, just recently, Saber Interactive split off from the Embracer Group, as Embracer was continuing to shrink their overall business. And now I believe they are at the end of that, and they can actually hopefully move forward and start thinking about making games. But Saber Interactive split off, and they are the ones that have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. You remember that was shown off at a PlayStation showcase as a PlayStation console exclusive, and I think that potentially is even up in the air right now. But it looks like the game is still being worked on. It says, in an interview with IGN, Matthew Karch was asked to definitively confirm that Saber is still working on the game following its split from the Embracer Group last month. And here's what he says: it's clear and it's obvious that we're working on this. It's been in the press numerous times. What I will say is the game is alive and well, and we're dedicated to making sure we exceed consumer expectations. And I hope this isn't something that ruined. I've talked about this on my channel before, but Knights of the Old Republic is a game that I hold very dear to my heart, as it's one of the first real major RPGs that got me into RPGs, or one that I could actually understand at the time that I played it. And it was the first one I ever played on the OG Xbox when it did come out. So I really hope they don't mess this thing up. because I would rather them just not remake this game at all if they're going to go in there and change a bunch of things. You know, sometimes what they do with these remakes, changing it to fit the current generation, and it just kind of ruins it. So I hope that does not happen here with Knights of the Old Republic. I hope they're true to what the game is, and they just update it and make the gameplay better, fun, and all that stuff. I am not always against changing the actual gameplay, but as long as it's actually fun when they do put it out, I'm okay with that. So we'll see what happens here with Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Let's just hope that they don't screw it up, because I'd much rather the game just never be remade if that was going to happen. Now, when it comes to showcases, Ubisoft Forward has officially been announced. I guess you can say this is kind of the kickoff to that summer showcase timeframe. And Ubisoft Forward is going to be coming on June 10th. They say Ubisoft has revealed the next Ubi Forward event, which is due to take place on June 10th in Los Angeles. It'll be almost a year to the day since the last major Ubisoft Forward showcase took place, with headline titles of last year's event being Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, The Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. I mean, this is a pretty solid lineup of games that Ubisoft does have that have come out and that are coming out. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown was phenomenal. Star Wars Outlaws is not out yet, but I'm sure we will see more about it at this showcase on June 10th, because it looks like it's going to be coming out this year. It's going to be coming out at the end of this year, as it has now also been rated in Brazil. So Star Wars Outlaws has been rated in Brazil, making it the third time the game has been rated in the past couple of weeks. The game was previously been rated 19 plus in Korea, M for mature in Australia, and Brazil's rating board has given the game a T14. So Star Wars Outlaws looks like it is going to be on its way this year, and it was a game that was first shown off at the Xbox showcase last year. I think it was one of the first games they showed off at the showcase, and I thought it looked phenomenal. And then at the Ubi Forward, they went into further depth for the game. I think the game looks great. I'm very excited for Star Wars Outlaws. We'll see how it all turns out. But again, like I said, I'm guessing June 10th, when they do have their next showcase, we will see more in-depth show of the game, get a release date, and everything that Ubisoft does just before they do launch a new game. Okay, let's talk about this, because this is kind of interesting. And this has to do with consumer behavior within video games. And it's not very surprising. This is something I think we've kind of known for a while, as it does kind of indicate that getting and capturing a new audience, if you're putting out a brand new game, is getting harder and harder. And this is a report here from Newzoo data indicating that 60% of playtime went to 6-year-olds or older games, and consumers were mostly playing older games in 2023. So on Tuesday, Newzoo released its second annual games industry report, which includes data on consumer habits, such as spend and gameplay during 2023. And the report emphasizes how, while developers can still be successful, players are spending more time in already established franchises and live service games. And it really brings you to that discussion as to companies now that are really trying to shift more into live service. I mean, PlayStation is one of them. WB are seemingly doubling down off of wanting to make more live service games as a service games, even after the failure of how Suicide Squad has done. I mean, a lot of people did not like that game. A lot of people were against that game, and you can just see it from the player numbers that it's just not doing very well. But they're seemingly doubling down. But it calls into question how successful and how easy success is going to be when you are putting out a brand new live service game. How are you going to pull players away from the games they've already put thousands of hours into your new world? And I think it's getting harder and harder. So when you see these pivots happening, if you haven't already established a player base in multiplayer, in games as a service, you really have to provide something so enticing that they're going to want to move away. Now, it says here, according to Newzoo, while the games industry grew in 2023, reaching $93.5 billion in revenue, a small number of publishers and developers took up a significant slice of the overall pie. According to the data, just 66 titles accounted for 80% of all playtime in 2023, and 60% was spent in games that are 6 years old or older. Now, this is an interesting chart if you kind of dig into it a bit more. So, on PC, the top 10 games by average monthly active users in 2023. I'll read it off the top 3. PC, Fortnite, Roblox, and Minecraft. PlayStation, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 3, Warzone 2.0. So that Call of Duty Modern Warzone hub, or the Call of Duty hub that you get on your console, that was number 3. And as we know right now, Call of Duty is a first-party Xbox game, so Xbox is getting a ton of money here from PlayStation users and taking up a lot of their time, which would take their time away from playing first-party PlayStation games or games that PlayStation wouldn't have to pay Xbox for. And then you have Xbox here. Fortnite, the Call of Duty was number 2, so that same hub, and Grand Theft Auto 5. So you can see exact same top 3 games between PlayStation and Xbox. And then Nintendo Switch, Fortnite. You have The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And it's insane to look at these things, and it really shows you the difference between the market, specifically on the console side of things. And when I talk about how first-party games don't sell Xbox and don't sell PlayStation, I always get a bunch of comments where people are saying, well, I bought a PlayStation or an Xbox to play first-party games. And of course, there are users out there that buy first-party games. I think it's around like 15% or so on PlayStation and Xbox that actually engage with all of their first-party games, or with their first-party games in general. That's generally the attachment rate that Xbox and PlayStation do have. Myself, I mean, I bought a PS5 solely for their first-party content. I'm in that 15%. Then you look at the Nintendo Switch, and the attachment rate is higher. There was a time when the Switch first released, in the first couple of years or so, there was a report that came out that they had like a 60% attachment rate on a Super Mario Odyssey, and some of their first party games just had insane attachment rates, like 40 to 60%. Obviously, with the more Nintendo Switches that have been sold, that attachment rate has fallen, but it is still very high. And not only that, the players on the Switch are spending all of their time within their first party games. Like, you look at the top 5 here for the Nintendo Switch. Out of the top 5, you have Fortnite. Then you have 3 Nintendo first-party games: Zelda, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Mario Kart 8, which is still doing so well, a phenomenal game. And then you have Minecraft at number 5. And then even under that, at number 6, you have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Number 8, you have Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 10, you have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 10 games on Switch are being played, are having the most monthly active users, which is crazy. And then you look at Xbox and PlayStation. Xbox has Call of Duty, Minecraft, and Starfield. That's 3 games in their top 10. Starfield, I think, is pretty impressive to be in there as a single player experience. People just put tons of time within that game, and it's a game that came out at the end of 2023 in September. And then you have PlayStation with 0 first-party games in their top 10. So if you're ever wondering, why is PlayStation pivoting? Why are they going to be working on games as a service? Why are they trying to make more multiplayer games? It's because they have no first-party games that people are spending tons of time in, and they need to create these games to get their attention away from the competition, especially now with a game like Call of Duty, where they are going to be shelling out a ton of money to Xbox for everybody who plays that game on their platform. That will just help grow the Xbox market and grow the Xbox ecosystem. So that's why PlayStation is making that shift. It's a pretty telling chart here, in my opinion, and it also very telling in just how good Nintendo is at having people stay within their own games in their own ecosystem, and they spend way less at developing them compared to what we're seeing with some of these budgets for the PlayStation first-party games, the Xbox first-party games, $300 million. Nintendo's not spending that much, and they're getting people to spend all of their times within their games and selling more copies than the competition. So pretty interesting charts here. Just wanted to take a look at those, but I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.